Let me tell you something that most people don't think about until it's too late. Last year alone, major power outages across the United States affected more than 80 million customers. That's not a typo. 80 million. And if you think back to the Texas freeze in 2021, more than 4.5 million homes lost power for days, some for more than 2 weeks in the dead of winter. People were burning furniture to stay warm. Families were melting snow on their porches just to have drinking water. And the truth is, it didn't have to be that bad. The people who came through that crisis the best weren't the ones with the most money or the biggest houses. They were the ones who had prepared. And that's exactly what we're going to talk about today, because I've put together a list of 20 must-have items for power outages. And I genuinely believe that if you have these things ready to go before the lights go out, you and your family will be in a completely different position than the vast majority of people around you. Now, before we get into the list, I want you to understand something. FEMA now recommends that every household in America be prepared to survive a minimum of 72 hours without grid power. That's 3 full days without electricity, without running water in some cases, without the ability to cook, charge your phone, or even see where you're going at night. And honestly, 72 hours is the bare minimum. If you live in an area prone to hurricanes, ice storms, wildfires, or extreme heat, you should be planning for at least 7 days. The average American home already experiences roughly 8 hours of power outages per year, and that number has been climbing steadily because of aging infrastructure, more severe weather events, and increasing demand on a grid that was never designed for the load it's carrying today. So let's make sure you're ready. The first item on my list is something so simple that most people overlook it entirely, and that's an LED headlamp. Not a flashlight, not your phone's flashlight, a headlamp. Here's why. When the power goes out at night, the very first thing you need is the ability to see. But you also need your hands free. You might need to check on your kids, open a breaker panel, find your emergency supplies, or navigate stairs in complete darkness. A flashlight requires one hand to hold it, and your phone flashlight drains the battery you're going to desperately need for communication. A good LED headlamp costs between $15 and $30, runs on standard batteries, and gives you anywhere from 40 to 200 hours of light depending on the setting. Get one for every member of your household and keep spare batteries right next to them. The second item is a portable power station, and this one has changed the game for emergency preparedness in the last few years. I'm talking about the lithium iron phosphate units, the Life PO4 chemistry ones, because they're safer, they last longer, and they can handle more charge cycles than the older lithium-ion models. A good portable power station in the 500 to 1,000 watt-hour range will keep your phones charged, run a small fan, power a CPAP machine, and even run a mini fridge for a limited time. You charge it before the storm hits, and when the grid goes down, you've got a silent, fume-free source of backup power, sitting right in your living room. No gasoline, no carbon monoxide risk, no noise. This is the single biggest upgrade you can make to your power outage preparedness, and prices have come down dramatically over the past 2 years. I've seen quality units in the 500 watt-hour range for under $300 now. If you've got someone in your household who depends on a medical device, a CPAP machine, a nebulizer, anything that needs electricity to function, this isn't a luxury item. It's a necessity. Number 3 is a hand-crank NOAA weather radio with a built-in solar panel and a USB charging port. This is non-negotiable, folks. When the power goes out, your Wi-Fi goes down. When a major storm hits, cell towers get overloaded or knocked out entirely, and suddenly you're sitting in the dark with no idea what's happening, whether the outage will last 2 hours or 2 weeks, whether there's a tornado warning for your county, or whether emergency services have issued evacuation orders. A hand-crank weather radio solves all of that. You turn the crank for 1 minute and you get 15 to 30 minutes of radio reception. The NOAA Weather Band gives you real-time alerts from the National Weather Service. Some models also have a small built-in flashlight and a USB port that can trickle charge your phone in a true emergency. This is your lifeline to the outside world when everything else fails. The fourth item is water storage, and I cannot stress this one enough. During a power outage, your municipal water system may still work for a while because most systems have backup generators and water towers that use gravity. But during an extended outage or a natural disaster, that water pressure can drop to nothing. And if you're on a well, the moment the power goes out, your pump stops and you have zero running water. The easiest solution is a bathtub water storage bag, sometimes called a water bob. It's a large food-grade bladder that sits inside your bathtub. When you know a storm is coming, you fill it up and it holds 65 to 100 gallons of clean drinking water. For everyday readiness, keep at least 1 gallon of water per person per day stored, and aim for a minimum 3-day supply. For a family of 4, that's 12 gallons at the bare minimum. I'd recommend pushing that to 7 days if you can, which means 28 gallons. Store it in food-grade containers in a cool, dark place and rotate it every 6 months. Don't use old milk jugs because the plastic breaks down and can leach into the water. Use purpose-built water storage containers or buy sealed commercial water that's designed for long-term storage. And remember, water isn't just for drinking. You need it for cooking, for cleaning wounds, for basic hygiene, and for flushing toilets if your water system goes down. It goes fast, much faster than you'd think. Item number 5 is a portable butane stove. And this is the item that people who've actually been through a long power outage will tell you was the most important thing they had. When the electricity goes out, your stove doesn't work, your microwave doesn't work, and if you have an electric water heater, you're going to run out of hot water fast. A portable butane stove is the same kind you see at Korean barbecue restaurants. It runs on small butane canisters that cost about $2 each and burn for roughly an hour per canister. You can boil water, heat soup, cook rice, make coffee, and prepare real meals for your family while everyone around you is eating cold canned beans in the dark. Keep at least 8 to 10 canisters stored and only use this stove in a well-ventilated area or outdoors. Never use it in a closed room. And that leads directly to item number 6, which is a battery-powered carbon monoxide detector. Every single year during power outages, people die from carbon monoxide poisoning because they bring generators, camp stoves, or charcoal grills indoors or into their garage. Carbon monoxide is odorless and colorless, and by the time you feel the symptoms, it may already be too late. A battery-powered carbon monoxide detector is your silent guardian. Even if you're being careful with your cooking and heating sources, having that detector running gives you a safety net that could save your family's life. They cost about $20 to $30. Put one near your kitchen and one near your sleeping area. Number 7 is something that almost no one thinks about, and it's a simple food thermometer. The USDA guidelines are crystal clear on this. When your refrigerator loses power, the food inside starts warming up. If the internal temperature of your fridge rises above 40 degrees Fahrenheit and stays there for more than 2 hours, you need to throw away all meat, dairy, eggs, cooked leftovers, and cut fruits and vegetables. A full freezer will hold its temperature for about 48 hours if you don't open the door, and a half-full freezer will hold for about 24 hours. But the only way to know whether your food is still safe is to check the temperature. Food poisoning during an emergency is the last thing you need, especially if medical services are overwhelmed or hard to reach. A food thermometer costs $5, and it could save you hundreds of dollars in wasted food, or more importantly, a trip to the emergency room. Item number 8 is battery-powered LED lanterns, and I recommend having at least 3 of them. One for the kitchen, one for the bathroom, and one for your main living area. Unlike candles, lanterns don't create a fire risk. Unlike flashlights, they cast light in every direction, so an entire room is usable. Modern LED lanterns can run for anywhere from 50 to 300 hours on a set of batteries, and many of them are collapsible, so they take up almost no storage space. Some even have hooks, so you can hang them from a shelf or a doorway. Get the kind that uses standard AA or D batteries and make sure you've got plenty of spares. Number 9 is a portable solar panel, and this pairs perfectly with the power station I mentioned earlier. Even if you've got your power station fully charged when the outage starts, If the outage lasts more than 2 or 3 days, that stored energy is going to run out. A foldable solar panel in the 60 to 100 watt range can recharge your power station during daylight hours and essentially give you an indefinite source of electricity as long as the sun is shining. On a clear day, you can fully recharge a mid-size power station in about 6 to 8 hours. This combination of a power station plus a solar panel is the closest thing to energy independence you can get without installing a whole house generator. Item number 10 is your non-perishable food supply, and this goes far beyond just having a couple of cans of soup in the cabinet. You want foods that are calorie-dense, require no refrigeration, and ideally require little to no cooking. Think peanut butter, crackers, canned meats like chicken and tuna, dried fruit, nuts, granola bars, canned beans, instant oatmeal packets, and shelf-stable milk or juice boxes. For a family of 4 preparing for 3 days, you're looking at roughly 12,000 calories per day across the household, so about 36,000 calories total. That sounds like a lot. But a jar of peanut butter alone has about 2,500 calories. Plan your food supply like meals, not like a random collection of cans. Think about breakfast, lunch, dinner, and snacks for each day, and make sure you've got variety so nobody is eating the same thing for 3 straight days. Number 11 is a manual can opener, and I promise you, this is the item people forget, until the moment they're standing in the dark holding a can of soup with no way to open it. Don't rely on your electric can opener. Don't assume every can has a pull top. Get a good quality manual can opener. Test it once to make sure it works, and store it with your emergency food supply. Item 12 is cash in small bills. When the power goes out, ATMs don't work. Card readers at gas stations and stores don't work. Digital payment systems go down. If the outage lasts more than a day or 2 and stores start opening with limited operations, cash is the only thing they're going to accept. Keep at least $200 in small bills, 5s, 10s, and 20s, in a secure location with your emergency supplies. This isn't money you touch for everyday expenses. This is your emergency-only cash reserve for when the digital economy temporarily ceases to exist. And here's a tip. Keep some of it in 1s and 5s. During an emergency, making change is a problem nobody wants to deal with. If you hand someone a $100 bill for a $10 bag of ice, you might not get any change back. Small bills give you flexibility and prevent you from overpaying when things get chaotic. Number 13 is a well-stocked first aid kit. During a power outage, especially during a storm, the risk of injuries goes up significantly. People trip in the dark, cut themselves on debris, burn themselves trying to cook by candlelight, or have medical situations that can't wait for an ambulance that might be delayed. Your kit should include adhesive bandages, sterile gauze, medical tape, antiseptic wipes, pain relievers, tweezers, scissors, and any prescription medications your family members take regularly. Speaking of which, that brings me to item number 14. Prescription medications. If anyone in your household takes daily prescription medication, you need to have at least a 7-day emergency supply set aside and rotated regularly. Talk to your doctor about getting an emergency prescription filled ahead of time. During a major outage or natural disaster, pharmacies may be closed, roads may be impassable, and the medication your family member depends on every single day could be completely inaccessible. This applies especially to insulin and other medications that require refrigeration, which circles back to why having that portable power station and cooler is so critical. Plan for this now. Don't wait until the pharmacy down the street is dark and locked. Item number 15 is waterproof matches or a reliable fire starter. Even if you have the butane stove I mentioned, there may be situations where you need to start a fire for warmth or for cooking outdoors. A box of waterproof matches stored in a sealed plastic bag is cheap insurance. You can also pick up a ferrocerium rod fire starter that works even when it's wet and literally lasts for thousands of strikes. Keep both in your emergency kit, and you'll never be in a situation where you can't make fire when you need it. Number 16 is a heavy-duty cooler with reusable ice packs or frozen water bottles. Here's the strategy. When you know a storm is coming, fill every spare inch of your freezer with water bottles. This does two things. First, a packed freezer holds its temperature much longer than an empty one. Second, when the power does go out, you can transfer those frozen bottles into a good cooler, along with your most important perishable food, your medications that need to stay cold, and your insulin, if applicable. A quality cooler can maintain near-freezing temperatures for 3 to 5 days if you keep it closed and in a cool area of your home. This is how you extend the life of your perishable food well beyond what your dead refrigerator can do. Item 17 is thermal blankets and sleeping bags. During a winter power outage, your home can drop to dangerously cold temperatures within hours, especially if you have large windows or poor insulation. Having quality sleeping bags rated for cold temperatures and a stash of wool or fleece blankets means your family can stay warm without relying on dangerous heat sources. Layer up. Stay in one room with the doors closed to conserve body heat and use sleeping bags on the floor if beds are near cold exterior walls. Your body generates about 75 watts of heat, so keeping a family together in one room actually makes a noticeable difference in the ambient temperature. If you remember the Texas freeze, the families who did this, who sealed off one room and stayed together with blankets and sleeping bags, they made it through. The families who tried to heat their whole house with a gas oven or brought a charcoal grill inside are the ones who ended up in the emergency room or worse. Number 18 is a battery-powered fan, and this one is for the summer outages that people always underestimate. Heat kills more people during power outages than cold does, especially among the elderly and young children. A good battery-powered fan or a rechargeable personal fan can make the difference between being uncomfortable and being in genuine medical danger from heat exhaustion. Some portable power stations can even run a full-size box fan, which is a game-changer during a July blackout. Keep damp towels and spray bottles on hand, too. Evaporative cooling is remarkably effective even without air conditioning. Item number 19 is having your phone charging cables and at least 2 power banks fully charged and ready to go at all times. Your smartphone is your communication device, your flashlight, your news source, your map, and your connection to emergency services. Keeping it alive during an outage is critical. A 10,000 milliamp-hour power bank will charge most phones about 2 to 3 times. Having 2 of them means you've got roughly 5 to 6 full charges before you even need to touch your power station or solar panel. Put your phone in low power mode immediately when the outage starts, turn off Bluetooth and Wi-Fi if you're not using them, and reduce screen brightness to minimum. These steps alone can stretch your phone battery by 50 to 70%. And finally, item number 20. And this is the one that has nothing to do with physical survival, but could save you from an entirely different kind of disaster. Keep copies of your important documents in a waterproof bag or container stored with your emergency kit. I'm talking about insurance policies, identification, medical records, prescription lists, bank account information, and emergency contact numbers written on paper, not just stored in your phone. During an extended outage or an evacuation scenario, you may need to prove your identity, file an insurance claim, or contact family members when your phone is dead. A simple waterproof document bag with copies of everything costs almost nothing but provides peace of mind that is absolutely priceless. Now, let me pull all of this together for you, because having these 20 items isn't just about checking boxes on a list. It's about thinking through what actually happens when the power goes out and making sure you've addressed every category of need. You need light, so you have your headlamp and your lanterns. You need power, so you have your power station, your solar panel, and your power banks. You need information, so you have your weather radio. You need water and food, so you have your storage containers and your non-perishable supply. You need the ability to cook, so you have your butane stove. You need safety, so you have your carbon monoxide detector, your food thermometer, and your first aid kit. You need warmth or cooling, so you have your blankets and your fans. You need financial access, so you have your cash. You need medical continuity, so you have your medications. And you need documentation security, so you have your waterproof document bag. Every single one of these items is affordable, widely available, and easy to store. The total cost of everything I've mentioned today, excluding the power station and solar panel, is probably under $300, and even the power station and solar panel together can be found for under $500 during a sale. The question is not whether you will experience a power outage. You will. The question is whether you'll be ready when it happens. I've been through enough of these situations to know that the first 20 minutes of a power outage reveal exactly how prepared you are. If you're scrambling for candles and digging through drawers for batteries, you're already behind. But if you can walk calmly to your emergency kit, put on your headlamp, set up your lanterns, turn on your weather radio, and know that your family has food, water, light, and power for the next 3 to 7 days, that is a level of peace that money can't buy. Take this list and start building your kit today. You don't have to buy everything at once. Pick up 2 or 3 items this week, 2 or 3 more next week, and within a month, you'll have a complete power outage preparedness kit that puts you ahead of 90% of households in America. Remember, this isn't about fear. It's about being the kind of person who takes care of their family before the crisis hits, not during it. Your pantry is your fortress, and today we just added 20 more bricks to that wall. If this video was helpful, make sure you subscribe because I put out new preparedness content every week, and I'd hate for you to miss something that could make a real difference for your family. I'll see you in the next one. Stay safe, stay prepared, and as always, you've got this.